Hey man, we in a conspiracy bag, man. Play that real quick. Insane conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Now, as y'all know, this is a reaction video. I don't need them Suburbans outside my crib while I'm trying to go to my 9 to 5. Any of this is allegedly. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know no information. I don't want no smoke with the J words. I don't want no smoke with y'all niggas, man. What else? What else we gotta say? Scats is they up. We don't want no smoke with scats either. Niggas say the content in this video is for informational purposes based on believable, reliable sources. They may not concern fully their own research, solely rely on this information. We're not liable for any or omissions. No information. Okay.
A secret government experiment turned animals into spies. A lie about food created a global crisis, and powerful men were caught performing strange rituals in the woods. These stories sound like nonsense. Many people didn't believe them, then the truth came out. Today we're diving into insane conspiracy theories that were true all along.
Now, all of this has proof in the video. So anything that's in this video, this man right here is the author. I don't know nothing.
We'll begin with the strange cases and work our way to the most shocking. Our goal, guys, is 2.5 million subscribers by the end of 2026, and it is crazy, so it would mean the world if you subscribe. I will do my very best to put out the best videos I can for you. I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome. The animal spy conspiracy.
Now, I halfway believe this because I never seen a baby pigeon before. So I think pigeons are really just installed by the government to spy on niggas. I'll be honest. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can convince me otherwise. You have not seen a baby pigeon. If you have, send it.
During the Cold War, the US and Soviet Union spied on each other. That's no secret, but there's one bizarre conspiracy theory from that period. People claimed the CIA tried to turn animals into spies. It sounded crazy, but declassified documents proved it actually happened. In the early 1960s, being a CIA spy meant risking your life. Anyone caught spying in the Soviet Union could be executed. The CIA wanted to spy without putting agents in danger, so they came up with a strange idea. Stop relying on human agents. That was where cats came in.
Literally,
the CIA
what I just say about the pigeons, gang? What I just say about the pigeons?
Idea. Stop relying on human
Look, pigeon camera right here. I literally just said that about the pigeons.
agents. That was where cats came in. The CIA realized cats could go anywhere without drawing attention. That made them perfect spies. So the agency launched Project Acoustic Kitty. The goal was simple: turn a cat into a walking listening device. Surgeons would implant a microphone, a radio transmitter, and an antenna into the cat's body. The idea was that the cat would move near a target, the mic would capture the conversation, and the transmitter would send the audio to the CIA. On paper, it sounded smart. In real life, it was chaos. Implanting those devices into a living creature was tricky. It took months to figure out. One report said they made a monstrosity. At that point, it was time to train the cat. But a new problem came up. The cat was hard to control. During training, it kept wandering off and chasing birds. It also...
That's the thing, bro. If you the CIA and you have billions of dollars, couldn't you just like replicate the cat? Y'all already got the nigga. I might say too much. I don't want the Suburbans outside my crib. Allegedly, y'all already got clones. Why can't y'all just clone the cat?
kept stopping to look for food. Even so, the agency decided the spy cat was ready. It was time for a real mission. In 1967, the CIA released the spy cat near the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C. Two men were sitting on a nearby park bench. Agents wanted the cat to get close enough to record the conversation. They released the cat. It stepped into the street. Then a taxi hit it. The mission was over before it even began. By then,
nigga got roadkill immediately.
The agency already spent about $20 million on the project. That's roughly $170 million today. But they decided to quietly shut it down. One memo said the project was not practical. However, the agency didn't give up on the idea of animal spies. Instead, they tried something even stranger. By the early 1970s, CIA engineers came up with a new plan. If real animals were too hard to control, they would build a machine that looked like one. That idea became the insectothopter. It was a tiny tiny drone built to look like a dragonfly. It had a tiny engine that
This
powered
what
the
I
wings.
just said?
The microphone was hidden in the head, and operators could control it remotely. By 1976, the CIA had a working prototype.
This is the first flight of the insect-sized unmanned aerial vehicle called Insectodopter. Flight tests were impressive.
The fuck is that name, nigga? Insectodopter.
Insect-sized unmanned aerial vehicle called Insectodopter.
Insectodopter. Man, that sounds like something Dr. Doofenshmirtz created. The Insectodopter.
Flight tests were impressive.
The plan was for it to fly close to a target and record conversations. Once again, it didn't work well in real life. The drone was extremely light. That meant even a small breeze could push it off course. Agents struggled to keep it steady long enough to record anything useful. Eventually, the project was abandoned. The Acoustic Kitty and Insectodopter projects remained classified for decades. People talked about them, but no one could confirm they were real. Then in the early 2000s, the CIA declassified some documents. That was when the truth finally became public. In 2003, the CIA put an Insectodopter prototype on display in its museum. The company in our next chapter secretly
There's a
did
CIA
something to
museum?
millions of
Hold on, there's a CIA museum? Let's go do the research. Turns out there's actually a CIA museum. I'm not gonna lie, we gotta go to this. We gotta go to this. Only $38. Somebody gift them subs and we can literally go up in there. Oh, nigga, this ain't even. This is a spy museum. The actual CIA museum, Langley, Virginia, not open to the general public. So why is it on? How is it on Google then? Come on, Matrix. Y'all gotta do better than this, bro.
Of their own customers and didn't tell anyone. The Batterygate conspiracy. For years, iPhone users noticed a frustrating pattern. Whenever Apple released a new iPhone, the older models seemed to get slower. Many users believed Apple was doing this on purpose to push them to buy the latest iPhone.
This is facts, but I'm still not folding. My iPhone 13, we're still not folding. We're still not folding.
People thought this theory was crazy, and if you believed it, you were just paranoid. Then in 2017, something happened, and suddenly you didn't seem so crazy after all. That year, Apple released a software update called iOS 10.2.1. After users installed it, complaints started pouring in. Users with older iPhones said their batteries were acting strangely. A phone might show a 30% battery, then suddenly drop to 1%. Seconds later, the phone would shut down. People complained all over social media. They were confused, frustrated, and demanded answers, but Apple didn't respond. So one man decided to look into it himself. John Poole was a software developer. He noticed that people were complaining about their iPhones. His wife was one of them.
My wife just offhand mentioned that her iPhone 6S felt slow, and the numbers that we got out of it were significantly lower than what I'd expect from a phone like that.
Poole knew enough about phones to analyze the situation.
It was sort of a eureka moment, and that's what prompted me to really take a deep dive.
I know Apple hate this nigga, bro. I'm surprised. I don't want to, wish nothing bad on them, but I'm surprised they ain't get nobody to literally jump dude or do something, bro. Cause me personally, if I had a multi-billion-dollar company and I'm trying to push niggas to buy my new product, and a nigga like this is over here trying to expose my tactics, I'll be pissed. Shut the fuck up. What did you stenching for? Talking about some deep dive. Nigga, buy the new phone.
Into our database of performance data and see what was happening.
He ran performance tests on older iPhones and compared the results to newer ones. What he found was hard to ignore. Older iPhones running newer versions of iOS had lower performance scores, but it was only happening to phones with older batteries. After analyzing everything, he reached one unsettling conclusion. Apple was deliberately slowing down older iPhones. Poole published his findings on his blog on December 2017.
Bro, how did he not get
read it, and they were furious. For the first time, the old joke about Apple slowing phones down didn't feel like a joke anymore. Now Apple had to answer for it. Just 2 days after Poole's blog went viral, Apple released a statement.
Apple confirms it slows down the performance of older iPhones to reduce power demands.
The company admitted it was slowing down older phones.
No
but it
way.
said there was a good reason for it. As iPhones get older, so do their batteries. Older batteries can't handle power the way they used to. If an older battery is pushed too hard, the phone might shut down or crash. To prevent that from happening, Apple added software that reduced the processor speed on older models. But that explanation didn't calm customers
Nah, they definitely
down.
doing
The
it.
problem wasn't just the slowdown. The problem was was that Apple kept it hidden. Soon, lawsuits began piling up.
So far, 2 lawsuits have been filed in Los Angeles and
Niggas
Illinois.
is suing over their iPhone going dead? Okay, bro, I think that's a little bit over the top. Gang, if Apple is such, like, I'm not sitting here defending Apple, but bro, if you have that much of a problem with it, switch to the Droid, gang. And at this point, Droids is better than the iPhone really anyway, because all the features that the Droid got, Apple don't have yet, or they're not putting. Or when they do get it, they make it a big deal. Gang, realistically, the only reason why a lot of people have an iPhone is because of the social standard, bro. If you don't have an iPhone, then you just look like a alien, basically. I'm still not getting rid of my iPhone, though. But, like, I'm just saying, though. Like, you feel me? At this point, Droids is really better than an iPhone. Now, it depends on which Droid. I'm not saying all of them. You feel me?
Claiming those suing never consented to allow Apple to slow their older iPhones.
Apple was sued in the US, Canada, Israel, and several European countries. Attorneys said Apple acted deceptively by hiding the shutdown and slowdown issues. In 2020, Apple agreed to settle the lawsuits. The company reportedly paid about $500 million. Every iPhone user included in the lawsuit received a little less than $100. But as part of the deal, Apple did not admit to breaking any laws or any other wrongdoing. Today, Apple's more transparent about battery performance. The company also added a new feature that shows battery health. Up next is the story of a product that millions of people bought without knowing it was a death trap. The Ford Pinto conspiracy.
I ain't never heard of that.
The Ford Pinto is remembered as one of the most dangerous cars ever. Even a small crash could make it burst into flames. Many people ended up in the emergency room. The conspiracy theory was that Ford themselves knew the cars were going to explode, but they hid that information and sold it anyway. That was a serious accusation, but the truth was even worse. In the 1960s, the Ford Motor Company was in trouble. Other car companies were selling smaller, cheaper vehicles, and Ford needed something that could compete. So the CEO told engineers to build a car that was cheap, small, and fuel efficient. Those targets were difficult but not impossible. The real problem was time. Designing a new car normally took 43 months. Ford engineers were given only 25. That
43 months? Now, these niggas be pumping out new cars every year.
deadline forced them to rush the design process. The result was the Ford Pinto. Eventually, it was time for crash testing, which is standard for any new car. Engineers wanted to see what would happen if the Pinto crashed. When the Pinto was hit from behind, the gas tank ruptured. Fuel spilled, sparks flew, and then boom, the Pinto burst into flames. Ford crash tested the car over 40 times. The same problem occurred. When the Pinto was rear-ended, the car caught fire. The problem came from the car's design. Engineers placed the gas tank right behind the rear bumper. Despite the obvious danger, Ford moved ahead with production. Thousands of Pintos were built.
Oh yeah, they did this strictly for the bag. That's why. They did that strictly for the bag. It was an instant hit.
When I bought my Pinto, I figured it was a good value, but I didn't know how good until my dad started borrowing it. So I ended up buying my own.
Then I bought one, and I bought one,
and I bought one.
Millions of Americans bought one. They had no idea they were getting into a death trap. Not long after the Pinto hit the road, the disasters began. Drivers reported the same terrifying pattern. Another car would hit them from behind. Then the Pinto would burst into flames. It happened again and again. Too often to be a coincidence. Some victims began to ask, did Ford already know this could happen? Ford said there was no problem. The Pinto met all safety standards. Even so, some victims filed lawsuits. Those cases went to trial in the mid-1970s, and the Pinto case became a national story. As the trial got more attention, one reporter decided to dig deeper. He got access to Ford's internal company records. What he found was alarming. The document showed that Ford engineers already knew the car could explode, but that was
Nigga, so y'all mean to tell me you snitched on yourself in the paperwork?
The document showed that Ford...
Come on, Henry Ford. Gang, we're snitching on ourselves in the paperwork. See, if I was alive during this time, this wouldn't have been the issue, bro. This wouldn't have been the issue at all, for real, for real.
Ford engineers already knew the car could explode, but that wasn't the worst part. Once the accidents began, Ford had another chance to act. The company thought about recalling every Pinto and fixing the issue, but executives felt it would be too expensive. Recalling and fixing every Pinto would cost $137 million. They estimated that settling victims' lawsuits would cost about $50 million. So the company decided it was cheaper to let people get hurt. In September 1977, the reporter went public with his findings. His article was titled Pinto Madness. TV networks, newspapers picked up the story. Now the conspiracy theory no longer sounded crazy. Ford knew the car was dangerous and sold it anyway. In total, 117 families sued Ford over the Pinto. The company paid more than $100 million to settle the cases. In June 1978, Ford finally recalled 1.5 million Ford Pintos. Engineers made the necessary changes to prevent explosions. No one knows exactly how many people passed away in Pinto fires. Some estimates put the number in the hundreds. Others say it was much lower. But whatever the true number was, it was far too many. Up next is the story of an industry that quietly rewrote the rules of nutrition, and millions of people paid the price.
McDonald's.
The Big Sugar Conspiracy.
McDonald's.
For years, doctors said eating fatty foods caused heart disease, but some scientists believed the wrong food was getting blamed. To them, sugar was the real danger. As they dug deeper, they uncovered a dark conspiracy to bury the truth. It involved bribes, intimidation, and even fake research. In the late 1950s, thousands of Americans were passing away from heart attacks. Doctors and researchers were trying to figure out why. In 1965, a nutritionist suggested that too much sugar might be the reason.
We started to wonder late in the 1950s whether sugar might be a culprit in the increase in heart disease.
The sugar industry was alarmed by that theory. Americans were consuming more sugar than ever before. It was in soft drinks, candy, and dessert.
Hold on, my nigga. Who let this little nigga scooch, bro?
Theory. Americans were consuming more sugar than ever before.
Gang, this nigga finna be bouncing off the walls. You do not need that much in your Frosted Flakes, gang, or your Corn Flakes, or the Rice Krispie treats. Relax. You're gonna grow 3 chins, gang.
It was in soft drinks, candy, and desserts. If the public blamed sugar for heart disease, the industry could lose billions. To protect their business, they needed to shift the blame, and they knew exactly how to do it. There was a group called the Sugar Research Foundation. It was dedicated to the scientific study of sugar's role in food. On the surface, the group looked neutral and trustworthy, but behind the scenes, it was run by people who made money selling sugar. They wanted people to keep eating sugar even if it was harming their health. So in July 1965, the Sugar Research Foundation contacted a researcher at Harvard University. They asked him to write a study on the cause of heart disease, but there was a catch. The paper needed to downplay the dangers of sugar and shift the blame to fatty foods. The foundation paid the researcher tens of thousands of dollars.
So we'll just say, for the sake of the video, 50K. 50K to write a paper capping your ass off, basically. I mean, but it's at the cost of hella people's lives, though, bro. Is y'all doing that? Me personally, I couldn't do that, bro. I couldn't do that. If it's affecting so many people, you can't, bro. You just can't, bro. That's gonna live on your conscience.
Then scientists didn't have to reveal who funded their work, so the public never knew about the deal. In 1967, the Harvard researcher published his paper. It said that cutting fat out of your diet was the best way to avoid heart disease. And because the study came from Harvard, people trusted it. Almost no one knew that the sugar industry paid for this study.
That's crazy. That's pay to win, bro.
Thrilled. One of them even wrote to the researcher, "Let me assure you, this is quite what we had in mind." Over time, the idea that fatty foods alone caused heart disease became widely accepted. A few years later, the US government released dietary guidelines. It told Americans to cut back on saturated fat, especially red meat. Many people followed that advice without cutting sugar. Many Americans switched to low-fat products. Food companies advertised low-fat yogurt, snacks, and dessert.
Who would do it right? Hard to believe it's got less fat.
But many of these low-fat foods had extra sugar for flavor, so people ended up consuming even more sugar than before.
Damn.
Over time, the health problems worsened. That confused a lot of doctors. Some scientists questioned the old research on fat and sugar, but there was still no proof that the study
Niggas
was
finesse.
manipulated. It took nearly 50 years for the truth to come out. In 2009, a researcher was studying the history of nutrition science. Her name was Kristen Kearns. While going through Harvard records, she found letters between Harvard researchers and the Sugar Research Foundation.
The first full...
So you mean to tell me all this is literally like in paper evidence in a book in a library, bro? Like, are they literally self-snitching on themselves? Because literally this is the second or third instance in this one video where niggas have been caught because of on paper.
That I pulled out opened up to a memo, the blue letterhead of the Sugar Association, and it had the word confidential.
Those letters proved that the sugar industry funded the research and probably influenced the results. In September 2016, Kearns published what she found. It shocked the world.
New this morning, Bay Area researchers are accusing the sugar industry of some unsavory behavior.
Believe me, I've been reading this for the past couple of days like, oh my God.
What did you think? We shaped our notion of healthy diets for decades on this. Don't ever eat fat, sugar, no problem.
By then, the researchers who wrote the paper were no longer alive, but the Sugar Research Foundation still existed. It now went by a new name, the Sugar Association. When people at the
Nigga, what? Nigga, that was so much bullshit I accidentally stopped recording my video game.
now went by a paper were no longer alive, but the Sugar Research Foundation still existed. It now went by a new name, the Sugar Association. When people confronted the group, it denied doing anything wrong. It admitted it funded the research, but insisted it didn't influence the results. Even so,
gang, you paid niggas to write an essay to promote sugar, which caused people to eat more sugar. Bro, what do you mean you didn't do nothing wrong?
it was too late to undo the damage. For decades, people ate foods packed with sugar, and many paid the price with their health. That was a lie that lasted 50 years, all because the sugar industry wanted to protect their profits. This next chapter is about a secret military operation so unbelievable, the government denied it ever happened. The weather control conspiracy.
This is facts. Bro, do I need to pull up that video that dude on Instagram that works at a cloud creating where I don't know if it's a warehouse or like what, but there's literally evidence, gang. You look at the sky sometimes, that shit look like The Simpsons, bro. Literally.
Have you ever heard anyone say that the government can control the weather? It sounds like the kind of thing only paranoid people would believe, but that idea didn't come from nowhere. In the 1960s, the United States was fighting in Vietnam, but the war wasn't going well. One major problem was the Vietnamese army's supply network. Their soldiers had secret roads running through the jungle. They used these routes to move food, weapons, and troops. As long as supply routes stayed open, it was much harder for the US to win. The US wanted to shut them down, but there were too many hidden roads to find and block. Then the military noticed something. Whenever heavy rain fell, the roads turned into mud. Trucks got stuck and people struggled to move through it. That made moving supplies much harder for Vietnamese forces. That gave the US an idea. If they could make it rain all the time, the enemy would have a much harder time moving supplies through the jungle. Controlling the weather sounded like science fiction, but the government had a reason to believe it was possible. Years earlier, a chemist named Vincent Schaefer ran some weather experiments. Schaefer flew over New York and dropped 3 pounds of dry ice into a cloud. Within minutes, the cloud began producing snow. He called it cloud seeding, and it proved that humans...
So because of this nigga Vincent, right? It's Vincent, that's his name, right?
Years earlier, a chemist named
Vincent. You is the reason why the weather is the way it is. You is the reason, gang. Fuck you.
Vincent Schaefer ran some weather experiments.
I mean,
Schaefer
bro. Oh my gosh, I take that back, bro. Dude is probably passed away. God forgive me. I take that back. Rest in peace. But this what he did was wrong. This what he did was
over
wrong,
New
bro.
York and dropped 3 pounds of dry ice into
my
a cloud.
gosh,
Within
bro.
minutes, the cloud
Realization hit
began
me.
producing snow. He called it cloud
I did not
seeding,
mean no
and it
harm.
proved that humans might be able to influence the weather.
me
During
shut
the
the hell up. The
Vietnam
rest of the
War,
video,
the
though.
military decided to try it. It was called Operation Popeye.
The goal of Operation Popeye was to extend the monsoon season and create an inordinate amount of rainfall by seeding clouds.
Air Force planes were loaded with canisters of silver iodide. The planes flew into storm clouds and released them. The silver iodide triggered more rainfall. The extra rain turned roads into mud. Some paths even flooded. Moving supplies became much harder for Vietnamese forces. The mission was a success. For 5 years, the US military kept doing it.
They flew over 2,600 missions from a period of 1966 to 1972.
I like this
and
is
they
like
kept the
smart
operation
though.
top secret. But secrets like that don't
Like really, that's like genius war tactics. I can't even sit here and cap, bro. Who thinks of, or it's obviously the chemist, but like, bro, that dude literally, like, it's messed up to do. Now it's messed up to do, but like, to think of that for a war tactic is crazy.
stay hidden forever. In March 1971, a reporter of the Washington Post exposed the operation. He revealed how the military was using the weather as a weapon of war. The public was shocked. Lawmakers were angry that they were never informed. The defense secretary was called before Congress to explain himself, but he denied everything. He called the claims wild tales. That denial only made things worse because reporters kept digging. In July 1972, another reporter published a story in the New York Times. It was titled "Rainmaking is Used as Weapon by US." This time the evidence was much stronger. The reporter had spoken with people involved in the operation. Now the story was no longer just a rumor. The defense secretary and military officials were summoned to a secret Senate hearing. They were asked about the project again, and they finally admitted the truth. That raised a disturbing question. If one country could use weather as a weapon, what would happen if other countries did the same? It could destabilize the climate, disrupt food supply, and create other serious problems. World leaders didn't want that to happen. So by 1977, world leaders signed an agreement banning the use of weather as a weapon. Today, over 70 countries have signed that treaty. As far as we know, no country has weaponized the weather since. However,
That's cap. That's definitely cap.
for cloud seeding, it never stopped. It's still used for farming and weather-related needs. So the weather control conspiracy theory turned out to be true. The leader in our next chapter believed the government was his enemy, so he decided to destroy it from the inside. The Scientology conspiracy. The Church of Scientology has been accused of many things, including being a cult, but one claim...
We know, bro, there's literally a group of niggas in LA. I don't know if the building is in LA, but there's these TikTokers that will literally run up in there with the meta glasses and literally just go around looking for shit. Like they don't even want to sign up. They just go in there looking for shit. Literally, bro.
Stood out from the rest. People said the church was doing illegal things to silence its enemies and manipulate the government. So are these conspiracy theories true? But to understand why millions of people believe this church is dangerous, we have to go back to where it all started. The Church of Scientology began in 1953. It was founded by a science fiction writer named L. Ron Hubbard. It said Scientology was a religion that could help people unlock their full potential.
Read Scientology, The Fundamentals of Thought by L. Ron Hubbard. Your search is over, but the adventure's just begun.
That message attracted thousands of followers, but as Scientology grew, so did the controversy around it. Former members accused the church of extortion and harassment. By the mid-1960s, the complaints were too many to ignore. The US government started investigating Scientology's internal practices, and what they found was troubling. Large amounts of church money were going straight to the founder, Hubbard. He was running it less like a religion and more like a business. So the government...
That nigga was feeding his pockets. Oh, y'all see that? IRS done stepped in. They wanted they cut.
Government revoked Scientology's tax-exempt status. Other countries went even further.
The state of Victoria in Australia has passed a law making it a criminal offense for anyone to demand or receive payment for the pseudo-medical practice of Scientology.
Hubbard was furious. He believed the government was targeting him unfairly. He gave interviews defending Scientology.
Why do they just fight it and say there's something bad, but they never specify what's bad? They haven't specified. For instance, right now they say we're breaking up marriages. All right, that's a lie.
But instead of fighting back in court, Hubbard came up with a much darker plan. He would attack the government from within. In 1973, Hubbard launched Operation Snow White. The mission was simple. Scientology wanted...
That boy went up against the elites? Hold on. That nigga might have some nuts.
to infiltrate government offices and erase every damaging file about the church. To do that, Hubbard created a network of spies. They made Scientology members apply for jobs in government agencies. They targeted places like the IRS and the Department of Justice. Once they got hired, the spies searched for files on Scientology. Then they stole those files or destroyed them. Sometimes they swapped real records with fake ones that made the church look harmless. The operation was led by Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue. She trained Scientologists to become spies. They learned how to forge IDs and manipulate people. For 5 years, the plan worked. Scientology infiltrated 136 government agencies in—
What the fuck? Nigga, 136 in 30 countries? This nigga wife might be a genius. This nigga wife might be a genius.
30 countries. But the church was not just stealing—
Fuck it. I'm finna hire Motion-Made executives. We are Actually, I don't want no smoke with the elites. I don't want no smoke with the elites. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
Files. They were also going after anyone who criticized them. Hubbard kept a list of the church's enemies. Paulette Cooper was at the top of that list. In 1972, she published a book titled The Scandal of Scientology. It was one of the first books to openly criticize the church. Scientology church leaders hated her for it, so they decided to ruin her life.
They sued me 19 times all over the world.
Damn.
Put me through 50 days of depositions. They sent a lot of horrible anonymous smear letters about me.
Then they decided to frame her for a crime.
They stole my stationery. They got my fingerprint on a piece of paper. And then they sent bomb threats to themselves.
Scientologists got a paper with Paulette's fingerprints. Then they used that
So
paper
how
to
do they
send
know that it was
device
framed?
threats to their own church. After that, they reported the threats to the FBI themselves. To investigators, it looked like she was guilty. Paulette was arrested and charged. If convicted, she could spend years behind bars. The Scientologists were celebrating. However, their entire operation was about to fall apart. In May 1976, 2 Scientology spies broke into a courthouse in Washington, D.C. They were trying to steal more documents, but the plan failed. A security guard caught them using forged IDs. Federal agents traced those fake IDs back to Scientology. So in July 1977, FBI agents raided Scientology offices.
What they
seized
find?
about 100,000 stolen government documents. They also—
So y'all mean to tell me I just stole the shit and didn't even get rid of it? Y'all just stole the shit. It's always a dumbass, bro. Like, come on. How are you gonna let your wife cook up that genius plan and you just... Come on, bro.
So uncovered
Couldn't even
files
get rid
that
of the work.
exposed Operation Snow White. Those files showed that Scientology framed Paulette Cooper too.
They found something that said along the line of conspired to frame Miss Lovely, which was the code name that Hubbard gave to me.
11 high-ranking Scientology officials were convicted.
That's
Among them was
diabolical.
Mary Sue, the wife of L. Ron Hubbard. She was sentenced to 5 years behind bars. But one key figure avoided charges: L. Ron Hubbard himself. Investigators believed he directed the operation, but they could never prove it in court. After the convictions, Hubbard disappeared from public life. He spent the rest of his life paranoid and in hiding. Scientology still exists today, and it is still powerful. Its members include celebrities, lawmakers, and wealthy CEOs. Who knows how much more powerful it could have become if its spies stayed inside the government. This
Damn.
next chapter is about a secret club that most powerful people in the world don't want you to know about. The Secret Society Conspiracy. You've probably heard the theory that a secret group of rich and powerful men control the world, that they meet in private to decide wars, pick presidents, and shape—
Look, y'all. I know I'm rich and successful, but trust me, I don't be with them niggas. I just be chilling in my back cave, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I don't be doing none of this.
major events. Most people brushed off this conspiracy theory as nonsense, but it turns out there's
We
some
got
truth
proof,
to
though.
it. There's a forest in Northern California where powerful men really
California.
do meet in secret. Those men are members of the Bohemian Club. The club was formed in 1872 in San Francisco. At first, it was just a few dozen men talking about art, but over time, the club began to change. Businessmen, lawyers, and politicians joined. Within a few decades, the Bohemian Club was no longer mainly about creativity. It was about power. In the 1890s, the club built a private camp deep in the California redwoods. They called it Bohemian Grove. Every summer, members traveled there for a 2-week retreat. As the years passed, the guest list became more impressive. Multiple US presidents attended, but as the Grove got more powerful, it also became more exclusive and secretive.
You don't ask to join, they ask you. The whole thing is about excluding certain people, and other people get to go
they got this shit on camera.
Fancy retreat.
No one was allowed to take photographs. Journalists were banned from entering. Members followed one strict rule. What happened at Bohemian Grove stayed at Bohemian Grove. Naturally, this made people suspicious. What were these powerful men doing in secret? For decades, no one on the outside really knew. Then one journalist managed to get in. In July 1989, a journalist named Philip Weiss got inside Bohemian
How'd that boy
Grove.
get in there?
He planned to sneak in, but when he got there, security was much lighter than he expected, so he pretended to be a guest and stayed for 7 days. Weiss saw celebrities.
So you mean to tell me you got billions? You got this definitely like well over. I'll say like 400 people, maybe like 200-300 people, billionaires, and none of y'all niggas got security. Oh, y'all niggas was overly
Politicians
lacking.
and business executives. He heard discussions about major issues. It all seemed impressive. But on the first night, things went from impressive to bizarre. After dark, men in dark robes walked in a slow procession. They carried a coffin. Then they placed it in front of the statue of an owl. The statue was 40 feet tall. Then they set the coffin on fire. The ceremony was called the cremation of care. Inside the coffin was a figure meant to represent the worries of everyday life. Burning it symbolized letting those worries go. When he got back to New York, Weiss wrote about what he saw. His article was published in Spy magazine, and it caused a sensation. For the first time, the public got a glimpse inside Bohemian Grove. The idea that world leaders were performing rituals in the woods sounded unbelievable, but it was happening. Bohemian Grove still operates today. Every summer, members gather in the forest. Cameras are still banned. Journalists aren't allowed.
So niggas don't got no proof, no nothing. Look.
To enter. And the same rule still applies. What happens at Bohemian Grove stays at Bohemian Grove. So was the conspiracy?
Yeah, we know what they
true?
doing, bro.
What we know for sure is that they really do meet at Bohemian Grove. What they discuss, however, remains a mystery. Are they deciding the fate of the world or just spending time with friends? Governments, corporations, powerful organizations.
Hell no, them niggas eating GTA characters and drinking GTA characters. Literally, bro. It gotta be.
My whole process, my whole do what she wanted to do. I'ma fuck that bitch in the back of the coupe. Ain't going outside, can't fuck with these dudes. Got a bag on me, put a bag on you. Bing black in the back of the spot, holding the block. Get fucked by dudes. Yeah, look at these bags, ho.